about it all the time, but it seems like it goes through the team as well. One game at a time. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. Is that the mindset you guys have night in and night out?
One day at a time, too. Even in days where we don't have game, off days, trying to get better, trying to get rest, things like that. It's one day at a time. So that's how we approach every day.
Your bench, again, a big night tonight from the bench. What DeAnthony Melton's doing shooting the ball right now, finding the hot hand out there, aren't you?
Yeah, he's special. He's making it easy for everyone else. We need him to keep going.
You had another throwdown tonight. You had a big throwdown tonight. How's that feel when you got the springs in the legs?
Nah, I'm just 6'9". It's all good.
Kyle, tonight with the win, magic number to clinch 2 is just 1. Is that a goal? Is it important, or is it about the next one?
Yeah, we just focus on the things we can control. Really, we don't really pay too much mind to that. We want to be playing our best basketball around this time, so we don't really focus too much on it. Just trying to get it done.
Congratulations on the win. Great game tonight, Kyle.
Appreciate you.
Kyle Anderson getting the start tonight, his 9th of the season, 13 points, 5 boards, had an assist and a block as well, and the Grizzlies win it.
And not only another 25-point win for the Grizzlies, but 3 different guys who dropped at least 20. Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, DeAnthony Melton. Says a lot, Zeke, about the depth.
The depth and the balanced scoring, the unselfishness, the shot selection, everybody, get to touch the basketball, shot distribution. This is a good basketball team, really good basketball.
Well, and when I asked GA ahead of this game what you would be looking for, because the injury reports were as long as they were, you said that it would be the depth. It would be the guys that you're going to see perhaps coming off the bench in a postseason run.
Yeah, and that's, what they have. What's most impressive about Memphis is that they look the same, no matter who's out there, in terms of their approach, their philosophy offensively and defensively. And, even in this game, even at the very end, they were defending. A lot of times you're up 30.
Yeah.
You take possessions off, their guys, they don't. And that's a testament to their coach and the coaching staff and their leaders. It really is. That was an impressive performance. Yeah, the Warriors are shorthanded, as were the Grizzlies. But, again, it's the fact that there is no drop-off. It's a next-man-up mentality with the Grizzlies that we're not seeing right now from the Warriors.
Yeah, how is that the case? Because we talked a lot before the game about how there would be no Steph, there would be no Clay, there would be no Dre on the Warriors side, but no Ja and no Jaren on the Grizzlies side, and they didn't seem to miss a beat. How?
We talked about them building trust and consistency in how they play, their approach to the game, their defensive system, their offensive system. They take good shots, they move the basketball. They don't care who really scores the basketball, but what they really care about is getting a good shot down every time. That is built into the way that they play, no matter who's out on the floor. And defensively, they can all guard individually. They got great athleticism, so everyone can square up, guard their man. And again, they're not trying to lead the league in scoring individually. They're not trying to set individual goals. They're playing as a team and trying to set team goals.
There were a couple of teams last season that surprised others throughout the postseason. The Grizzlies were one of them. Perhaps the Hawks were another. And so the conversation shifts from one season to the next. It's you were once the hunted, and you were the hunter, and now you're the hunted. How do you respond to being the hunted? And by all accounts, GA, this young Grizzlies team has responded by becoming a true title contender. Yeah. What is it, though, that marked that time in between of being the hunter and becoming the hunted? What?
It's a great question. And a lot of it is on the goals that are set. And you brought up Atlanta, which is a great example, right? Because Atlanta got to a conference finals. The expectations rose. And they had issues in terms of injury and all those things, so they didn't get continuity. But their season was a disappointment, obviously. They're a 500 team, just a game over. I think they won tonight. They're going to be in the play-in. They're going to have a chance to maybe do it again. But in terms of the season, they didn't take the next step.
And the Grizzlies had those same issues.
And the Grizzlies they've had their issues with injury. Their stars have been out. But I just get a sense with their team, their guys all play to their strengths, and their guys all seem to buy in. There is no agenda. They don't have anybody that's thinking about their contract or unhappy with their role. They just seem to have a really cohesive group that gets it. Again, I made this comment in the pregame. They remind me a lot of the Warriors that first year, going into the season where nobody was talking championship. But you could sense that they felt like they had a chance to be special. And they had a dominant season. And that was a great graphic that they put up. You know, they've had 13 games where they won by 25 or more. And the last time that happened, that team won the championship.
Yeah.
And that kind of dominance, and you made the point about the consistency, because that's really what separates good from great. You know, the great ones do it 4 out of 5 nights. You know, the good ones 2 out of or 3 out of 5. You know, and it's that little drop off that they don't show. And tonight's perfect example. Like, you would have thought Ja and Triple J played tonight.
Yeah.
You would have thought they were at full strength with how dominant their performance was.
And when we talk title contenders, and you say the last time that a team won by that many, the last time that a team won a title and was this young was in the 70s.
Yeah.
It would have been the 77 Blazers. This team, on average, is 24 years old. So what is it, Zeke, about these young guys that is giving them this kind of confidence that says we can contend?
I think last year's playoff loss to Utah and the way they fought in that playoff series, I think it gave them the understanding that, you know what, we're not that far away. And when you look at a Golden State that's aging, and you looked at Phoenix, who all of a sudden jumped up and went to the finals, wasn't predicted to make it to the finals, but all of a sudden now Memphis is going back over the summer saying, hey, we're not that far away, guys. We're really not that far away, and we're just as good.
Yeah.
And then we got number 12, in Ja, who at the point guard position, which is probably one of the most dominant positions in the NBA, they all looked around and said, we got the guy. We got like the real guy. And the way they got started out this season and the way they're finishing the season, they have belief.
Because isn't that so funny? I so vividly remember Dylan Brooks, after that play-in win, going up to the podium with his sunglasses on.
Yep.
Like, the only people who are surprised are those who haven't been watching.
Yes.
And from there, it's like they've just continued to just emerge as not just a young team that has a promising future, but one that I don't think really would surprise any of us if they won a championship this season.
Not now, not with how well they're playing. And some of the young, I will say this, remember the second youngest team to win it was the Warriors. And the other aspect of that, like, some of that is a little misleading when we say the youngest team, because they are young in age, but they've been in, this is not, they're not all in their first year.
Right,
Desmond Bane might be in his second year, but he was he went to college all 4 years. Ja's been in the league 3 years now. Jaren Jackson's been in the league 4 years now. Dylan Brooks been in the league 3-4 years now. So, and they've been decent that whole time. So they've progressively gotten better. And the advantage that they have also is, and I'm sure they had these conversations in terms of the front office with the players and the players individually. They're like, guys, look, if we all just get a little better individually, we're going to be and if you go look at them statistically, that's what they've all done.
Yeah.
Ja took a big leap, but, Jaren Jackson's a little better this year. Desmond Bane's numbers better this year across the board. Like, all their guys took a little bit of a step. Yeah. And then collectively, it's made them now a dominant team. They got the second best record in the entire league.
Yeah.
And they've had the same kind of issues with injuries that everybody else has dealt with. But they're going to be a force. They really are. And because what they do, they believe in.
And what's good to see happening in the NBA again is that team basketball is coming back. And for so long, the NBA has branded the individual. And in the 80s, right, even though we had great superstars, it was still about the team. It was about the Lakers. It was about the Celtics, the Pistons, the Sixers. And then when you got to the 90s, it was more about the individual, and then it continued to be about the individual. But now you're looking at Phoenix, you're looking at Memphis, you're looking at like
Miami,
just Miami,
right? The teams
like
that are
good
sitting atop the
basketball
league.
teams.
Yeah.
They're not like, you know, heavily driven by that one dominant superstar personality. It's like, hey, this is a good basketball team. Like Phoenix is a good basketball team, and you have to come to beat them. You don't have to come to beat the one guy. You got to beat 12.
Yeah.
And that's what Memphis is showing.
All right, we are going to take a break because we have 9 games to talk about on this Monday in the NBA. Speaking of the Hawks,